told me to do that, make sure I see like the bars and it's like the Arthur Fonzarelli. I'm dating myself, I know.
Good evening, Washington Courthouse. It is 7:30 PM on December 14th, 2022. Time for our first regular meeting of the month. At this time, Mr. Hawk will offer an invocation and Mr. Chrisman will lead us in the pledge. If you're able, would you stand?
Heavenly Father, I thank you once more for the privilege of being in this group. I thank you for this city and for all the good things that it affords to us. I thank you for the safety we have here and for the ambiance, and especially during this Christmas season. I thank you that so many people have worked hard to make it look good and to provide an ambiance that's pleasing. I pray, Father, that we would be grateful to you for all that you give to us and do for us. And I pray that you'd help us as we live our lives and as we deliberate here, that we would do your will and that we would do the best for the city. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Kelly.
Schultz,
Here.
Blair,
Here.
Chrisman,
Here.
Hawk,
Here.
Hernandez,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Lynch.
Here. We have two sets of minutes to approve this evening. The first is from our regular council meeting on November 21st. Anyone see any changes or things we need to make to those minutes? Yeah.
I do see,
Okay,
on the first page, right under the first motion carried, it says Miss Schultz.
well,
It does, it is. You're right.
well,
Sorry,
other
Steve.
than that correction,
We'll
thank
put
you,
an R
Caleb.
there.
I'll put an R there.
Any other
Okay, I didn't see
changes? Well, we need a motion first, I guess. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion with the changes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all righty, roll call.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Thank you.
Yes.
Blair, Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Next, we have our budget work session on November 29th, 2022. Did Ms. Schultz make that
Yeah,
one
did I
too?
make that one?
Does anybody see any changes we need to make there?
I'll make a motion to accept the work session from Tuesday, November 29th.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Next, we have in our business session, a public hearing rezoning 1.76 acres of 3.39 acres, parcel known as 2133 Columbus Avenue from B3 to R2. Anybody want to speak to this issue? You would come up and state your name for the record and your address, please.
Jason Langley, and it's 3616 US Route 62 Northeast, Washington Courthouse. I'm representing Mr. Jim Wilson, Asher Development, who actually owns the property. And did you receive a map of all this? Did the council, did you guys receive anything? I know planning council. Okay, I
Should be
can
in the rezoning.
pass this around, you guys just
Pass out, that's the only one I got.
That is?
I thought
No,
that.
that's that's the,
All the others.
JED,
Okay, well, no, that's not the scale, obviously, that's my chicken scratches on those lots, but we hadn't decided to, We have not surveyed it yet. We was waiting to make sure that you folks were okay with everything. We went through planning commission and they voted, unanimously to approve it, R2. And we're basically just taking the tail end of that corner lot and, making it into, we're gonna put doubles on there, or offer to whoever wants to build doubles on there. There'll be minimal restrictions. They'll mock the ones kind of similar on Beacon Street, those, not the big ones that Jim built, but the ones across the street, the smaller units. That's kind of what they'll look like. Garages in the center, brick or stone front, minimum square footage, something like that. Two bedroom
Where
units.
is this exactly?
Corner of Duffy and 62, that grass lot right there.
Before you get to, is it past where the
Past.
family farm and home is?
Yeah, it's right there on the other side of
The
Duffy.
side of that, okay.
Yeah. I've had a lot of businesses inquire about buying this lot, but they always question me like, well, we don't really need that tail end of that lot. We just want the upper corner. And being that we have done this, I've already got a business that's very interested in that corner. And so we're just kind of waiting to see how things go here. And then, hopefully I can get something put there on that corner here. in
How
the
many
next few
units you gonna
months.
put there, you say?
Well, there's 4 lots, Steve.
Four, okay.
And
So
then
you
you
can
just
get
put
how many
a
on-
double on each lot.
Okay.
Yeah. R2.
The man that used to live there, Mr. Snyder.
And the
he had-
house it was going,
He had St. Bernards, and they're buried down in that corner.
Oh, no.
So you're gonna find.
Oh,
You
that's
might wanna
good.
check into that, cause
Yeah,
I
there
put
you
him
go.
there.
Holy cow, I didn't have any idea about that.
Is that legal, Mr. Denon? I'm not sure about that.
Well, would have been in the county at the time. so-
Oh, okay, good.
You were running into some kind of Indian mound or something.
That would be my luck right there. But that'd be pretty cool too, so. Anyways, is there any, I don't know if anybody has any questions about it or anything.
The discussion in the planning commission was very productive and it worked out very well.
Yes.
Sounds like a good location for that type
How-
of building.
Do they look like the ones across from First State Bank?
No. Beacon Street. Think of the ones on Beacon Street, those doubles with the garages in the middle, 1-car garage in the middle.
Oh, yeah, those are nice.
Those are nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mhm.
You know which ones I'm talking about, Jim?
Well, kind of.
If you go up Duffy, turn right on Beacon, the unit's on the right.
On the right.
Yeah, those smaller
Brick ones?
ones. Brick
Yeah.
front,
Okay, brick. front,
vinyl
yeah.
on the side and back.
Okay.
They'll, of course, it's up to whoever buys them, they can build whatever they want there, but we're gonna set minimum, restrictions as far as the stone or brick front. We want them to look nice.
Yeah. What, now, will these be sold as a complete unit or leased or how?
No, we'll sell the lot, we'll just offer the lots individually, 4 lots for sale, and they can buy one or all of them. We have no idea who's gonna buy it. I'll put them on the market, sell them for Jim.
Okay.
And they'll face Duffy?
Yes,
Okay,
Mhm.
would be, I think,
Yeah.
and those are big lots. Those are bigger than what any of the lots are on Beacon. They're pretty good size.
Any other questions, Mr. Langer? Does anybody else have anything else they want to say? Well, then we'll close that public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Langer.
Thank you.
And we are to another public hearing about the JED, actually, Ohio Revised Code 715.72(1)(I), with respect to the proposed addition of property to the Jefferson Township Washington Courthouse Joint Economic Development District, including with respect to the proposed amendment to JED contract and its related map and economic development plan. So that's why we're having a public hearing. I think we did get information about that, did we not?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Does anybody have any comments or things they would like to say about that? Mr. Denon, do you want to add anything about that?
No, it's just the continuing process that we go through for that project out there.
So that means in the future, if anybody builds on that property, we would share in that,
It's subject to
In the
city income
JED.
tax.
in the jointed
Yeah.
economic development.
This
Okay.
would be including the property where Honda would be building its new factory.
Okay. No, I think that's a good idea.
Any other questions or comments? Then Kelly, I will close that public hearing also. And we will move on. Mr. Denon, do we have any communication?
None.
Mr. Denon, I hate to disagree with you,
Oh.
but I have copies here of communications. And I don't know, I think you're trying to be very modest, but I want to mention them. You received a communication from Mr. Bill Beatty,
Oh, okay.
managing partner of Club Apartments, and it says, "Your service staff did all they could possibly do to assist us in solving our lift station issues. I'm not sure we accomplished our goal, but your staff was excellent in their response to our issue. I also want to thank you for assisting the Hands of Christ Street Ministry in their search for space to assist the less fortunate in our community." So thanks to you and to the service department from Mr. Beatty, and I think that's excellent. The second one is one that you sent. You communicated with Chris Richardson's wife in your sympathy for the loss of Chris to the city. And Joe, in all seriousness, this is one of the best letters I have ever seen to someone about the loss of a family member. And I know that you consider Chris a family member of the city also.
Very much so.
And I just wanted to tell you that is one excellent letter to Chris's wife.
Thank you.
And I know you miss Chris, Kelly, and all the other people who are here miss Chris, but I thought that was a very well-written letter, and I wanted to mention that. So you don't get off with no communications tonight.
Okay.
Anyway, we have reports of council committees. Ms. Hernandez, we got green and red tonight. Have you noticed that? We're very-
Red, I like that color, because it was my last name.
How to read that?
Because of my-
Economic strategies. Kendra, you're up.
Okay, Economic Strategies and Cooperation Committee met in the City Council chambers at 105 North Main Street on Wednesday, November 21st, 2022 at 5 p.m. I presided, and those in attendance were Mr. Steve Schultz, council member, Mr. Caleb Johnson, council member, Mr. Jim Chrisman, council member, Mr. Dale Lynch, council chairperson, Mrs. Chelsea Baker, economic development director, Mr. Mark Pitstick, city attorney, and Mr. Joseph Denon, city manager. Number one, the committee reviewed progress with the industrial development. Number two, the committee noted the status of various development projects within the community and downtown area. Mrs. Baker noted there were 40 open projects. Number three, the committee benefited from a review regarding downtown events. The committee noted that Small Business Saturday would be held November 26th and that the Christmas parade would be held November 27th at 3 p.m. The administration advised the committee of a new business interest in the downtown area. Number five, the committee noted that DORA signs had been placed to designate the DORA area. The administration advised the committee that an article will be placed in the paper answering frequently asked questions regarding DORA. Number six, the committee reviewed progress with commercial development. The committee noted interest from the community. Number seven, Mrs. Baker advised that she would be meeting with technicians on November 29th to review and correct sound issues with the downtown speaker system. Number eight, the administration advised the committee that the new color chart was in the final stages of completion and would be presented to the Historic District and Review Board. The committee noted that a customized packet would be given with the new color chart to downtown interest to help streamline the process through the Historic District Review Board. Number nine, the committee benefited from a review of statistics regarding the changes of dynamics and census counts after a Honda plant was located within their community. The administration noted that the planning preparations had begun for possible future growth and expansion of the community. Respectfully submitted, myself, chairperson, and Mrs. Kelly Ford, recording secretary.
Thank you, Kendra. You read that red really nice.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions about this report? If not, do we have a motion to approve it?
Just one question
Whoops,
here.
okay.
Number 7, did we get the speakers all fixed? Do we know?
They sounded, I heard them on Saturday, yeah.
Partially,
Most of them are done.
yeah. The ones that are there work in the evening when the lights are on. But we're still waiting a number of poles,
Oh,
replacement poles.
oh,
So there's some speakers that will then appear then.
okay, I got you.
And they should all work fine once, but when you finally get the missing, streetlights that are downtown that have been hit or fell over, then that ought to all work a whole lot better.
Thank you.
Anything else? Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is that Tim?
Yep.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Next, we have green. That does not mean you're the Grinch, Mr. Blair, but your paper is green, so go ahead.
It all depends on who you ask.
Yeah, I guess that's true. The kids call me the Lynch that stole Christmas, so. Anyway,
That's a good one, the Lynch.
Okay. The Finance and Personnel Committee met in the City Council chambers at 105 North Main Street on Wednesday, November 21st, 2022 at 6 p.m. Mr. Jim Blair presided, and those in attendance were Mr. Jim Chrisman, council member, Mr. Steve Schultz, council member, Mr. Ted Hawk, council member, Mr. Caleb Johnson, council member, Ms. Kendra Hernandez, council member, Mr. Dale Lynch, council chairperson, Mrs. Christina Collins, finance director, Mr. Joseph Dennis, city manager, Mr. Mark Pitstick, city attorney, and citizen, Mr. Sean Remington. The committee benefited from a review of the statement of cash for the month ending in October. The committee then reviewed the supplemental appropriation. The committee recommended that legislation be brought to council to proceed with the supplemental appropriation. The committee benefited from a review of the investments of the City of Washington Courthouse. The committee then noted that the local government services have been consulted regarding the 2022 year. The committee benefited from a report of personnel matters given by Mr. Denon. The administration provided the budget and budget letter to the committee for review. The administration advised the committee, noted new hires at the police department and fire department were doing well. And lastly, the committee adjourned into executive session at 6:15 p.m. for the purpose of personnel matters. The committee went back into regular finance and committee meeting at 7:14 p.m. No further was communicated. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Jim Blair, Chairperson, Finance and Personnel, and Mrs. Kelly Ford, Recording Secretary.
thank you, Mr. Blair.
Yes, sir.
You read the green very well, too. Any questions? Do we
I'll
have
make a motion to accept these minutes.
I'll second that.
roll call?
Schultz.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Then, Mr. Blair, you're not done yet. We have yellow.
I'm warmed up.
You're warmed up now,
Yes,
go
okay.
for it.
Okay. This was a special Finance and Personnel meeting held November 29th, 2022. The Finance and Personnel Committee met in the lower level conference room of 105 North Main Street on Wednesday, November 29th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Mr. Jim Blair presided, and those in attendance were Mr. Jim Chrisman, council member, Mr. Steve Schultz, council member, Mr. Ted Hawk, council member, Mr. Caleb Johnson, council member, Ms. Kendra Hernandez. That sound kinda,
Like Ted.
Like-
yeah, that's right.
I like that.
Ryan.
Council member,
Sound like Ted.
Mr. Dale Lynch, council chairperson, Mrs. Christina Collins, finance director, Mr. Joseph Denon, city manager, Mr. Mark Pitstick, city attorney. We only had one item on the agenda, and that was the committee met to discuss pay for all non-union personnel. The committee recommended beginning January the 1st, 2023, the following increase for non-union employees: 4.5% for police and fire department, 5% for municipal court, 3.5% for all other non-union employees, with the exception of personnel with adjustments made due to job duties performed as specified per the recommendation of Terry Wilson, he's our personnel director, filed in the committee book. Respectfully submitted, myself and Mrs. Kelly Ford recorded.
You read in yellow too. Thank you, Jim. Do we have any questions about that?
As a point of clarification, did we recommend 5% for municipal court, or are we told by the municipal court?
You were told, so you could try to draw a different conclusion.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll move that we accept these minutes as read.
Second.
And roll call.
Schultz.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Chrisman.
Yes.
Hawk.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for reading those colorful reports. Mr. Denon, you are up with your report.
Thank you. Would like to thank the downtown community and everyone that participated in Downtown Live. It was a very nice evening, and it was an immense amount of fun. Anytime that I get to burn things on the courthouse lawn, it's a good night. We had those warming barrels out on the courthouse lawn, but you had a nice crowd downtown. They had a good time. And I love it when I can hold up the Record Herald and point that out. But, you know, it worked out exceptionally well for the entire downtown community. Brought a lot of people downtown. Kendra, the local shops, they did well that night?
I haven't checked, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
It was really mostly afternoon, correct?
Afternoon, yeah.
Yeah.
2 to 6. It was neat. And the weather was much better than the parade when it was blowing at 40 or 50 miles an hour.
Yes, it was much better than the
I
parade.
didn't announce it, that's why.
That's it, okay.
If you have last minute shopping, remember what local options that you have. You've got several items of new legislation tonight. The rezoning that we had the public hearing about, which that's over by Columbus and Duffy Drive, and we talked about that. You vacate a portion of an alley, which is over by the courthouse, that's for the county. Then you have 2 nuisance abatements. One on Wilson Street and the other on South North Street. And then the supplemental appropriation, that's ordinance number 25. And that is not a particularly unusual supplemental appropriation for us. The biggest item you'll recall is generated by a corporate taxpayer that overpaid on their estimates, and we have to do a refund, and that kind of, gets things out of kilter that we gotta fix. And then ordinance number 26 makes appropriations for next year. It funds the budget that we had the budget work session about. And the budget is smaller than the prior year. The main difference there is the winding down of the wastewater treatment plant project. It does have a number of substantial improvement projects, though. We'll continue with the Columbus Avenue project on the Court Street to the Court Street Bridge. We will try to do that with the minimum amount of disruption downtown, but that'll give you a nice new, incredibly long stretch of pavement. It also makes a very similar pavement effort in the rest of the community next year that we made this year in terms of dollars. Now we'll have to see what pavement bids out at to see if you get as far or maybe a little bit further. It provides funding for trails, and a number of other recreational opportunities, and it strengthens police and fire, which is very similar to last year's budget, but the major difference would be the beginning to wind down of the wastewater treatment plant project, and that's why you see a large difference in the total. Let's see. G really relates to the JED. It gives Christina Collins the ability to set up some accounting funds, so that makes her life a little bit easier related to the JED, so that we can keep proper track of those funds. And then Mrs. Crutcher's very nicely agreed to serve on the tree committee, and we thank her for that. An incredibly nice lady, and wish her well with that. That is really everything I have for tonight, other than to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Mr. Dennett,
5-hour speech.
how are things going on the Lakeview project?
Extremely well. We've had relatively few problems there. I did have a call from a citizen, what was it, last week? They were a little bit concerned when they opened the tap to their water, had a little bit of a milky color to it. And what that is as they lay a section of main, they will then pressure test that much further beyond its operating pressure. And you leave it at that to make sure that it holds pressure properly. But in the process of that, you force some more air into the water. So then when you put it in service, after we've done all the bacteria testing on it and hook the person up, sometimes when it comes out of their tap for a day or two, it'll have a little bit of a milky look to it, and then it'll turn clear, and that's just the air coming out of it as it's not under the level of pressure that it was, because you've dissolved a little bit more air into it than it normally has in it. But no, it's gone along exceptionally.
Good, good.
And that main we really needed to replace. That was becoming a major, it was inconvenient for the residents there, and it was inconvenient for us. It needed
Is that
to
the
go.
one that was leaking?
And we'd have main breaks on it all the time, especially in the winter, but it was a problem. And you had a weird situation where, I don't know why, but you had main on both sides of the street instead of one like we normally do.
Do we have an update on the Horizon Internet project, approximately how far along they are and where they're?
They still have a way to go. But they continue to work at it. Hopefully they'll be done with the portions where they directional bore sometime this year, and then they'll be the ones that are overhead. But they continue to directional bore and restore lawns and have a tremendous amount of activity.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Joe,
Yeah.
on A, ordinance number 21. Wasn't that decided to go R2 instead of R3?
Good catch.
Yes, it should be R2.
Everything else says R2, but that right there. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thanks, Dave. Anything else? Okay. Finance director is not here. The city attorney is not here. We had no local residents and taxpayers signed up. I do want to mention that the second regular meeting of this month, because of the Christmas holiday, will actually be tomorrow evening at same time, 7:30. So we'll be meeting tomorrow evening. And then we're gonna have a special meeting Friday morning at 8:30, if anybody wants to get up.
Oh,
Just-
all of you are volunteering, definitely.
Just to complete this legislation before the new year. That's why we're doing that. And before we get into legislation, I just want to, it's just a challenge, I don't know. If you have an ugly Christmas sweater, wear it tomorrow night for our last regular meeting of the year. It's gonna be ugly Christmas sweater.
Just wear what you got.
I just destroyed mine. I just put it together and then took it back apart. I'm
Come on.
sorry. I'm not gonna
Ugly
be ugly
Christmas
tomorrow.
sweater night. I'm gonna wear one, I'm telling you right now, get ready. Okay, we're ready for legislation now that we've done the serious things of the night. Legislation, first is ordinance number 2022, second reading.
I'll move that we place ordinance number 2022 on second reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
I got my glasses. This shall be fun. Ordinance number 20-2022, an ordinance authorizing Joseph J. Denon, city manager of the city of Washington courthouse or his designee, to abate public nuisance at 722 Church Street, authorizing a private contract for the payment of the abatement of nuisance, and directing the collecting of the cost of the abatement of nuisance from the owner of the property.
Resolution number R 2022, second reading.
I'll move we put resolution, number R 2022 on second reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Resolution number R 44-2022, a resolution authorizing Joseph J. Denon, city manager of the city of Washington courthouse, to amend the agreement with the American Red Cross for the lease of the premise located at 225 East Market Street.
Move for adoption.
Go ahead.
Second.
Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Next, we move to new legislation, ordinance number 2022, first reading.
I'll move we put ordinance 2022 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion. And this is the one Ted pointed out we're correcting, so. But any other discussion?
Yeah, when you read it, Kelly,
Yes,
you're gonna read R2, two-family residential district.
as R2,
Mm-hmm.
two-family residential. Okay. All right, I can do that.
Okay, you ready then? Roll call.
Yes, sir. Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 21-2022, an ordinance rezoning 1.76 acres of a 3.39 acre parcel known as 2133 Columbus Avenue. Parcel 215-012-0-00-021-00 from B3 General Business District to R2 two-family residential district.
Okay. Ordinance number 2022, first reading.
I'll move that we place ordinance number 2022 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 22-2022, an ordinance vacating a portion of alley adjacent to 119 East Market Street.
And ordinance number 2022, first reading.
I'll move we put ordinance number 2022 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-2022, an ordinance authorizing Joseph J. Denon, city manager of the city of Washington courthouse or his designee, to abate public nuisance at 431 Wilson Street, authorizing a private contract for the payment of the abatement of nuisance, and directing the collecting of the cost of the abatement of nuisance from the owner of the property.
Next is ordinance number 2022, first reading.
I'll move that we place ordinance number 2022 first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-2022, an ordinance authorizing Joseph J. Dennett, city manager of the city of Washington Courthouse, or his designee, to abate public nuisance at 503 and a half South North Street, authorizing a private contract for the payment of the abatement of nuisance, and directing the collecting of the cost of the abatement of nuisance from the owner of the property.
Ordinance number 25-2022, first reading.
I'll make a motion for ordinance number 25, 2022 for first reading.
Second.
I think that was Ted. Discussion? Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-2022, amending ordinance number 15-2021 by providing supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Washington Courthouse, Fayette County, Ohio, during fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
Ordinance number 26-2022, first reading.
I'll move we put ordinance 26, 2022 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-2022, an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Washington Courthouse, Fayette County, Ohio, during fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Ordinance number 27-2022, first reading.
I'll move that we place ordinance number 27, 2022 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Ordinance number 27-2022, an ordinance authorizing and directing Christina Collins to create accounting funds.
Finally, resolution number R 45-2022, first reading.
I move we place resolution number R 45-2022 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Resolution number R 45-2022, a resolution confirming Joseph J. Dennett, city manager of the City of Washington Courthouse, appointment of Elaine Crutcher to the Tree Committee for a term concluding December 31st, 2026.
Ted was quick to get another person on tree committee
Yep.
then. Okay, we're ready for miscellaneous in our next to last regular meeting of the year. Mr. Johnson, what do you have this evening?
I would like to thank Mr. Langley for coming and talking today. I also read through, the minutes of the, City Planning Commission meeting, and I wanna thank you for your flexibility, cause I see that, you already had 3 lawyers grill you, so, I didn't wanna add on and be the 4th, so.
I was prepared for
Okay, well, I appreciate your flexibility, so thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Ms. Hernandez?
I just want to touch on what Joe said. A couple things. So downtown life was fabulous as far as people walking. I don't know about how businesses did. But there was a lot of traffic, and it is a lot of fun. It is so much fun. It's all about small community. And then the other thing is, I would just like to say that he did reiterate, or I'll reiterate, is that support your local businesses, please. It's so important for us to support each other first. And that's the boutiques, that's the restaurants, the gift home decor shops, the specialty shops. They are the people who are here every day, keeping your community nice. They're the ones who contribute to your school systems. They do a lot more than I think everyone realizes sometimes. And they work really hard. As a business owner, you work really hard. Jason can tell you that. You work hard. And you do that because you love your community and you love what you do. So the best way to give back is just supporting them before you go out of town or shop online. If you can get it in courthouse, please buy it there. So that's it.
Mr. Schultz?
Kendra, the shop did well Saturday, just brick store was very busy,
Good.
so it was good.
You had queens or princesses,
Princesses,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Princesses,
in
both-
his
Girls
case.
were all dressed up.
In the windows, yeah. I remember, I go by seeing that,
Yeah.
yes. Mhm.
So,
You're up.
Oh, okay, I just want to wish everybody sitting up here and your families a nice, happy, and all the employees of the city and their families a safe, healthy, and a very Merry Christmas. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chrisman?
I also would like to tell everybody Merry Christmas. Might see some of you tomorrow, the next day, but I doubt it. You coming again tomorrow? Okay, well, I'll tell you tomorrow night. Anyway, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Also, toward the end of the year, I'd like to, if I don't forget it, thank all the city employees. We have tremendous employees. And without them, we'd have nothing.
Mhm.
And I hate to say it, but maybe we're the low on the totem pole, although we do a good job.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so anyway, that's about all I have.
Mr. Hawk?
Speaking of lawyers,
Oh gosh, don't get started on them.
Careful, Ted.
you are not one, right?
Go ahead.
I'm not a lawyer. Mr. Johnson, now that you know what it's like on this side of the fence when it comes to a judge's decrees, maybe someday when you become a judge, you'll remember that and not be telling us what we have to do. Just saying.
I hear you'll have an opportunity to elect a new judge here soon.
That's correct.
True. Anything else?
Coming up.
Coming up.
Anything else, Mr. Hawk?
No, that's all.
Mr. Blair?
Okay, I would like to give a shout out to the chairman of the abatement committee and his head employee, Mr. Rod Bryant. I've noticed in the paper over the last 2 weeks, more of these ordinances of abating these properties, I think, than the whole year put together. So it's good to see that the activity that is being generated within that group, and I just want to give them kudos. And that's all I have tonight, sir.
Wow, you've been quick. Going along with what Mr. Chrisman said, on Friday, this Friday, at 11:30, the service department is having their Christmas lunch. I always, when I can, try to get there to tell those people in the service department how much we appreciate what they do. Like you said, Jim, I haven't used one truck to remove snow, and I haven't saved anybody's house from burning, and I haven't done anything on the police department. Those are the people that make this city work. So if you get a chance at 11:30 Friday, you should go over and enjoy a meal with them and tell them how much you appreciate them. I also want to mention, I mentioned it with Joe's letter, but I want to mention, I guess when you come to the holidays, the only sad thing is for people who have lost family members, and it's a time when they start remembering those family members around holidays. So again, our family, as far as the city goes, lost Chris Richardson unexpectedly. And so I'm thinking about his family as we get close to Christmas time. It's gonna be tough on them. Anyway, I found some sayings. Mr. Blair had kind of taken over sayings, but
I've kind of backed off.
I've got some Christmas, what
Is
I
that
think
your
are.
heart is 2 sizes too small?
Oh. You're out of order.
See if this doesn't sound like what Christmas should be about, and for that matter, what the person whose birthday we celebrate at Christmas life was about. Greatness is not found in possessions, power, position, or prestige. It is discovered in goodness, humility, service, and character. Next, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. We talk about at Christmas time, peace and love and all those things. It must come from us. And finally, be somebody that makes everybody feel like somebody at this Christmas time. Again, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow evening. It's our second regular meeting of the month. Hope to see everybody in their Christmas sweater. I'll have one bright enough for everybody, so anyway. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes, we are adjourned at 8:15.